Ntozake Shange was an acclaimed dramatist, spoken word artist, poet, novelist. And here to induct her is the extraordinary author and memoirist Esmeralda Santiago. And just a wonderful little fact, a bit of trivia, which is for the film buffs present. Santiago also portrayed a character by the same name in the 1967 film Up the Down Staircase. Esmeralda Santiago, novelist and memoirist.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I feel like a star now. Thank you for inviting me to speak about this extraordinary woman whom I met recently and who has changed my life. In October 2018, El Festival de la Palabra in San Juan, Puerto Rico, brought readers and writers together to share our love for books and literacy for the 9th year. Among the invited authors was Ntozake Shange. On opening night, she was led to her seat on the first row of the outdoor theater. Her name was passed from lip to lip like a wave across an ocean. That's Ntozake Shange. Another wave came, this time applause and calls. Bienvenida, gracias. She was with us in solidarity and in person because she understood that in the aftermath of Hurricane Maria that erased our ecosystem, destroyed homes, killed thousands of people, and disrupted lives, we were traumatized on the island and away from the island. She was aware the African diaspora is not contained within the borders of the United States, that the Caribbean islands were often the first stop along the ships of tears and sorrow from Africa. She knew Puerto Ricanos are among the most diverse people on this earth. She knew and respected us and our history. She loved us, and we loved her. Ntozake Shange was a poet, a dancer, a playwright. She was a novelist, a spoken word artist, a teacher, and an activist. She inhabited her many roles, daughter, sister, mother, friend, artist, with grace and humility, with a generous spirit in an exuberant, passionate life. She was an early supporter of the Nuyorican Poets Cafe and brought her voice and poetry to its stage. She was a champion of the diasporicans, like me, that she met wherever she lived and making us visible in her literary work and in her life. She had visited Puerto Rico, had danced and celebrated our salsa music, and invited its rhythms to move and inspire her. She crafted images from the vernacular of the people around her and surrounded herself with those who shared her preoccupations and her obsessions. They became her poetry. During the week of the Festival de la Palabra, she was surrounded by young people. She was often tired and took short naps so she could have enough energy to mentor and motivate the next generation of writers. She knew they'd experienced trauma, and she guided them to try in their art to both explain and relieve it for themselves and for those who don't know or don't understand the pain of losing everything you own, of losing yourself in others, of losing yourself in exile. She attended many of the readings, panels, and performances, her presence soothing the nerves of the young poets and writers on the stages. During the week, she and I found time to talk. I treasure our conversations. We were both stroke survivors, struggling to continue our artistic work and our personal lives with as little disruption as we could muster. It wasn't easy for her. It hasn't been easy for me. But those moments when we could be ourselves with one another, they will be there forever, etched like gifts into my heart. Less than 2 weeks later, she passed away in her sleep. In Puerto Rico, we mourned her as one of our own. Puerto Rican poet Nemesis Mora Perez writes that Ntozake Shange always wrote as much from pain as from sublime joy. Her work is about being Black, about being a woman, about violence by and about women, about racism, about class struggle, eroticism, and poverty. These are heavy words, weighty issues, emotional concepts that can burden you so much you consider suicide because the rainbow is not enough. We're all so grateful she decided to face life, to dig deep, to drag despair from within herself, and to speak unspeakable truths with passion and courage. Most of all, we thank her for allowing us to see ourselves like she saw us and to welcome us to share her journey. It is my profound honor to induct Ntozake Shange into New York State Writers Hall of Fame.
Good evening. Esmeralda, I want to thank you for that just wonderful set of remarks regarding Ntozake, and brought back a lot of great memories about her trip to Puerto Rico that we were very much engaged in, and also her relationship to the Latino community in general. So thank you for that. My name is Paul T. Williams, Jr. Ntozake, who passed away in October 2018, just after her 70th birthday, was my sister. Ntozake, or Zaki, as we often refer to her, family and friends, would have really relished the thought of being inducted into the New York State Writers Hall of Fame. I want to thank the Empire State Center for the book, the New York Library Association for recognizing her body of work of poetry, plays, novels, essays, and children's books for this prestigious honor. It is an honor to receive this recognition, and it is an honor twice over for her to be included among the other very distinguished and accomplished writers in this year's class of inductees. My sister's experiences here in New York were so intrinsic to her craft from the days of her youth visiting family in Jamaica, Queens, then as a college student at Barnard during the frenetic and turbulent days of the late 60s, and later as a working poet, playwright, writer, and performance artist here in the city. New York was, in fact, her canvas and provided her with sustaining energy, a coterie of wild and unpredictable friends, and a strange comfort and sense of safety she experienced in the midst of the chaos of it all. Unfortunately, my sister experienced serious health challenges in her lifetime, some so severe that they left her unable to speak or to write. She literally had to relearn how to speak and even how to write her own name. Yet her creative genius never left her, and she largely overcame all of those health challenges by sheer force of will, really. So much so that in her final months, as Esmeralda indicated, she was appearing regularly and actually had completed 2 new books. Dance We Do, a collection of essays revealing Ntozake's influence on the work of choreographers of color, and I Am an Old Woman, a sensational long-form poem coming out this year. Her tour de force, of course, was for colored girls who have considered suicide when the rainbow is enough. Besides having the second longest running play on Broadway by an African-American woman, she also created an art form and coined a new term for the American lexicon, the choreo poem. The true testament to her substantial body of work is the impact she had, as Esmeralda suggested, the impact she had on generations of women now, an impact that continues, I can tell you, that can be a testament to this very day. Ntozake Shange's literature indeed has changed lives, altered destinies, taking some to a place that she so poignantly described, where they could at long last see God in themselves and could love her fiercely. On behalf of my entire family and in loving memory of our sister, mother, aunt, and grandmother, thank you so much for this honor.